For our experiment, we asked the question, does the percentage of individuals who choose Coca-Cola based on taste correlate with the percentage of individuals who choose Coca-Cola based on the brand? To gather the data of individuals who chose Coca-Cola based on taste, we conducted a basic taste test using a convenience sample. To gather the data of individuals who chose Coca-Cola based on the brand, we informed them of which cup contains Coca-Cola brand and which one contains the knockoff brand.
Remember, that one's Coke, and then that one's the fake one. So tell us which one you think tastes better.
Nothing tastes good.
The fake one does? Okay. It's Coke, and then this one is the knockoff one. And you're just gonna tell us which one you think tastes better.
What's it? It tastes the same.
They taste the same. If you had to pick one. Okay, this one's Coke. Alright. And then this one's the knockoff one. And just taste. Can you wrap this up? Taste them up and tell me which one you like more.
Pretty good.
That one, for sure.
Shots. Oh, just better.
That one? Okay. Thank
What
you.
was it?
The knockoff one.
Let's go.
Okay. That one's Coke. I think that one.
Oh, they definitely bite too.
We need another girl.
That's
Steal
the Coke.
Sally. Is that good?
Diet check. What is it? So gross. They're both bad.
Okay, well, we have to pick.
Really? To what? This one's better.
Oh.
And that one's Coke too.
No, it's like the knockoff Coke. For our experiment, we had to do a 2-sample p-test. So P1 is the proportion of people that picked Coke knowing it was Coke prior to testing. And then P2 is the proportion of people who picked Coke not knowing. And to solve for P1 and P2, you had to take the number of people who picked Coke over the total number of people who did the experiment for each section. So for P1 we have 0.6, and then for P2 we have 0.9. And then there are 2 conditions that we had to meet for it to be reliable. And the first condition is that it had to be a random sample, but for our experiment we did a convenience sample. And then also it had to be normal. And our sample, we had 20 people, but it needed to be 30, and so because our sample was too small and it was a convenient sample, it was unreliable. So for our test stat, the equation for P is P1 minus P2 minus 0 over the square root of P1 times 1 minus P1 over n plus P2 times 1 minus P2 over n. When we plugged all of our numbers in, we got negative 1.549, and then we had a level of significance of 0.05, and so once we put our critical value on the curve, which is 1.645. We put our negative 1.549 on the curve, and it was in the fail to reject section.
Because of our small sample size, we were unable to make an accurate conclusion. Looking back, we should have done a larger sample size to have better tested our hypothesis. Another thing we could have done better was given our volunteers a fresh, cold can of each soda brand. We felt that because the soda had come from a room temperature bottle, it could have affected the responses. Our experiment was more difficult than a basic taste test because it combined two sets of data to form a conclusion.
Maybe it's the way it's skewed, left or right or even milkshake. Put it in my calculator. Check it out, Norman looks great. I said, can you plot these points for me? She said, yes, absolutely. And we graphed all night with our calculator. If we wanted to, we could do it on paper. Now we know how it goes, and we'll try to remember, 'cause we graphed all night with our calculator. I think it went oh, oh, oh. I think it went yeah, yeah, yeah. I think it went oh. Said her name was Cheryl Hughes, and she was our stats teacher. Told us to reject the hoe. Gotta reject the hoe. Hypothesis is the key feature. I said, is it T or is it C? She said, I don't know, let's check the sheet. And we graphed all night with our calculator. If we wanted to, we could do it on paper. Now we know how it goes, and we'll try to remember, 'cause we graphed all night with our calculator. I think it went oh, oh, oh. I think it went yeah, yeah, yeah. I think it went oh. You know, I know, you know I'll remember this, and I know, you know, I know you'll remember that, and you know, I know, you know I'll remember this, and I know, you know, I hope you'll remember how we go. How we go. 1, 2, and we grabbed all night with our calculator. If we wanted to, we could do it on paper. Now we know how it goes, and we'll try to remember, 'cause we grabbed all night with our calculator. And we grabbed all night with our calculator. If we wanted to, we could do it on paper. Now we know how it goes, and we'll try to remember, 'cause we grabbed all night with our calculator. I think it went oh, oh, oh. I think it went yeah, yeah, yeah. I think it went oh. Best graph ever. It was the best graph ever. It was the best graph ever.